Good day everyone, my name is Hannah Ibailan and today I'm going to discuss to you the topic that was assigned to me entitled Choral Reading. But let me first introduce to you what are the things we will encounter throughout the session. Okay? What to know. We will we will def- we will define the definition of choral reading. Next, values of choral reading. What reading skills does it help students learn, master? Why is it worth using? Suggestions and general tips for students as they are organizing their student, types of choral reading, and lastly, key points to remember. So let me define first what is choral reading. So there are many definition of choral reading, and we will go. I am going to explain that to you. So first we have. So first, choral reading is one important reading instruction technique that educators can use to help students improve reading fluency, which is a critical component of reading comprehension. So this technique was mostly used by the teachers to help or aid their students in their reading skills. And then, pinakauna na step po siya to practice reading comprehension of the students. Next definition, choral reading or speaking is simply reading and writing in unison under the direction of a leader. It is not a new technique, for people have engaged in it for centuries. Meaning, most done reading by group and following the leader. Common and simple na po siya na activity sa mga tao since then. Another definition, in the past, choral speaking was used as an important means of communication and communion. Today, it is an art of form as well and is employed both ways by the theater, the church, and the school. Before tong time na wala pa na-evolve ang world, and mostly ang way sa pag-communicate og stories or poem is through speaking or oral. And by that, nagkadugay ang panahon, specifically in present days, choral reading was defined as an art, since you're not just reading man lang in front of people but also persuading them to listen to you and get their attention through reading a poem or a passage. And lastly, choral reading is an interpretive reading of text, often poetry or songs by a group of voices. Students may read individual lines or stanzas alone, in pairs, or in unison. Next slide is values of choral reading. Can be used successfully in any room with a large number of people, maybe approximately 20. So you can perform a choral reading with lots of people as long as you read it loudly, clearly, and delivered it excellently. And also, it provides for speech movement like pitch, volume, rate, and tone quality. Doing it with feelings and emotions on how you utter the words, right? So next, it provides for social cooperation. Group works towards a common goal. So, social interaction and sharing of ideas are needed in this activity for the best delivery of your choral reading. So, of course, mag-exist jud diri si inclusivity. And also suitable for any age. At any age, pwede mag-engage into this type of reading. So, next slide. What reading skills does it help students learn and master? First, it helps students learn to decode. course, makahelp sa students in a way how they interpret the passage, where they can also share it with their classmates, friends, or even sa ilang peers. It develops effective and fluent read aloud skills. So choral reading will develop your fluency in reading, of course. And also, it improves sight vocabulary. Like, maka-encounter ka unfamiliar words or new words through choral reading. Mas magain pa ang imong vocabulary. Next. It helps students learn to pronounce new words by hearing others reading aloud at the same time. For example, the teacher give you group A passage to practice for your choral reading, and then while your group practicing, you notice a a word that is unfamiliar to you, and it's hard for you to pronounce it, and then your classmates or group mates know it. By mimicking them, you gain knowledge on how to pronounce that specific word. Okay. Also, it helps students understand rhythm, meter, patterns, rhymes, and characters of a poem. You will encounter types of creative writing and their purposes and let us say differences. Also, it demonstrates the importance of oral tradition. Since since ang choral reading is speaking, and by that you're just like sharing stories and art through speaking, just like what our ancestors did, just like our ancestors did when there were no resources to imprint arts of reading back then. So next slide. Why is it worth using? Like, why? Nganong importante siya, nganong unsa imong makutlo, ay unsa imong ma ma-enhance, unsa imong ma-learn ana while reading. So, reading aloud effectively and fluently is a very difficult skill. It takes practice to improve. Of course, when you're reading, it takes a process to master it. That is why need jud siya patience and consistency of practice if you really want to master it. Okay. Next, suggestions and general tips. Keep the passage relatively short. Consider also nga if too long na ang passage, medyo boring na jud siya. That's why make it concise and interactive at the same time. Also, keep it simple. Choose material that is on grade level. So, if your student is grade 7, then give a material that is suited to their grade level. Next, select story or poem that allows students to make the words come alive. Passages with interesting sounds, contrast that can be interpreted by volume and intonation, dialogue, or changes in mood. Next slide. Tips for students as they are organizing their reading. So, first one is alternate slow and fast lines, stanzas, and paragraphs. Second, alternate loud and soft. Third, alternate high and low voices. Fourth, emphasize keywords and phrases. And clapping and other sound effects produced by the students add to the dramatic presentation of the reading passage. Next, types of choral reading. So there are many types of choral reading. Okay? So first type is unison. The whole group the whole group read together. From the word unity, no? This type of choral reading should be done with a group. Next, antiphonal. This is a division into two groups with each taking certain parts. Example is 10 members mo sa one group, then it should be divided into two. 5 isa ka side, also sa isa ka side. Cumulative. When this technique is used, it is for the purpose of building toward a climax or certain high points. Next, solo pair. Often lines or stanzas call for individual peer reading. You you can do choral reading in solo or together with your friend. Next, line around. This is solo work in which each line is taken by a different reader. So each member should read a line. And lastly, key points to remember. Research studies show that choral reading is an effective method of improving reading skills. And also, struggling readers can benefit from choral reading activities by modeling their teachers and more advanced peers. If you group let us say, dili kayo kabalo basa, and isa ka student or hinay siya magbasa, of course, you as a teacher dapat i-encourage inimong student so that mas ma-motivate sila and ma-enhance pa ilang reading skills. And lastly, although reading fluency is often considered an important building block in reading comprehension, some students who have proficient reading fluency might not have good skills in reading comprehension. Knowing how to read is good, but the most important this is we need to understand and comprehend what we have read or what we read, so that ma-avoid nato ang misinterpretation. That's why we need also to teach the learner to do so. Okay, and that would be all my topic, and thank you for listening. I hope you've learned something from me. Have a good day, everyone.